Let's get it poppin'. Record breakers in 3, 2, 1. Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a podcast about music where we share music with each other. I'm Peter Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me, as always, is my team, my squad, my crew. We've got Brett.
I ice it.
We've got Drew.
Detroit basketball.
And we've got Patrick.
Hi, kids.
Yes. Of course, it's back around to that time of the cycle. We're back around to the guest spot.
That cycle.
Exactly. And Drew may have tipped the hat there, but we have our guest. We have David Jeffrey Majors, aka DJ Am, here in the house. How you doing, Deej?
LeBron James. What is up, Record Breakers? Thank you so much for having me on again.
Mm-hmm. We're back at it again. Back on our bullshit. Here, we have DJ M is bringing us another album. This time, something completely different. Deej, what do you got for us this time?
This time around, I decided to take a little bit of a departure from my normal picks of something from the world of progressive rock and heavy progressive metal. And I decided to pick the new, I guess you could say, debut album from pop artist Kitty. The album is called Miami Garden Club.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some expectations. Brett, I'm curious, what were your expectations coming into this album?
Well, I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought this, but I thought we were going to be listening to the London, Ontario all-female led metal band Kitty. Boy, those were my expectations. I was like, man, we're going back in time.
No, it is not 1998, Brett.
No, I learned that. My expectations were off. I am unfamiliar with Miss Beckwith, and her work, but I was happy to see what this album had to offer.
Mm-hmm. The spelling is what tips.
You told me with words at one point, and then you wrote it down, and I did not. Yeah, I had a moment where I'm like, wait a minute. I was shook, to tell you the truth. I was completely flabbergasted when I heard what we were listening to.
Shook to thing. Patrick, what were your expectations coming into this album?
As someone who owned a copy of Kitty's debut album, Spit, I was like, wait, what? like Brett was. Because either way, that is not what I would expect from our dear friend DJ M.
Swerve.
So I came in blind. I was told it was not of the normal Deej progressive tinged rock and or metal music. So I was very curious to see where we went, and I was surprised where we went.
Mm-hmm. Drew, what were your expectations coming into this album?
Well, let me be the third one to say. I heard Kitty, and then I was like, okay. And then I looked it up by the album name when I went to look for it. So literally until I hit play, I was like, I don't think I remember hearing about this album from this metal band. This is going to be weird. I haven't listened to screaming death metal in a while. Let's listen to some screaming in my ear from Ontario. Let's do that real quick. And then I hit play.
Yeah, not a whole lot of screaming, was there?
Oh.
And here I was, I had almost completely forgotten that band existed.
Yes.
You weren't me at age 15 or 14 or whatever I was.
But yeah, let's talk about this album. This is a really cool, interesting album to say the least. But Deej, how would you describe this album musically? What would be the themes on elements?
I would say that this is an album that probably falls under the lines of a touch of electropop and some hip hop and trip hop influence. And dare I say, for you Generation Y kids out there, it might even have a little bit of what the kids call vaporwave.
What's that? I don't think we've listened to any
It's
of
kind
that.
of like ska.
Is this ska?
No, because ska was never cool.
The vaporwave.
Wait.
Even when ska was popular, it wasn't cool. It was literally a bunch of dorks.
Yes.
There was no
And
one.
that's
There was
the
no
way
one
we like
hip
it.
or cool doing ska.
And that's the way it needs to be.
It always needs to be that.
You don't want a
ska is
cool
ever
guy
cool,
playing
it
a
will ruin the
trombone.
genre.
Yes.
Fuck hipsters playing ska. That'd be
Yes.
horrible.
Brett, how would you describe this album musically? What would be the theme elements that caught your attention?
Well, this is a very, very weird album to me. First off, I didn't know until I hit play too. So I was like, man, this is very whispery. So it's almost like it's not quite an ASMR video with like a beat behind it, but there's let's say there's a limited range in where the vocals go. It sort of hangs out in like not quite talk singing. It's not One Night in Bangkok. As my example of talk singing.
Every time.
Yeah,
Every
I mean
time.
it's talk singing, like, but there's a little bit, but it's very it's subdued, and it's also subdued in the mix, and the mix is well, okay. Also, the vocalists are not. This is not somebody with perfect pitch, and it doesn't need to be. It's got a little bit of grit, and it's a little flat and a little sharp at times. But that sort of goes with the sound. It's got the backing beat a lot of times is there's a bit of sameness in a lot of this album, but like that the synth work kind of sounds like let's say it's 1998 and you're walking into a Games Work Studio arcade. And you walk by like every one of those like Crazy Taxi machines or like any kind of arcade. At some points, if you cut out like the people yelling, Crazy Taxi, like sometimes you've got some sounds that come from 90s arcade themes. Sometimes you have straight up Peter Gabriel sounds. Sometimes you have you have the one of my favorite things, the Chromeo keys with the pitch wheel being wiggled around a bunch. It bounces around, but it always has this basic ethereal feeling. And lyrically, like some of the lyrics go somewhere, but most of her lyrics are very. It's not quite straight up what you'd expect top 40 pop hits to be, but it is of the genre. If I even know what the genre is, but it's like a future. This is what I think everything sounds like if you take like a future drug, like if you're taking Nuke from RoboCop 2 or Bloody Eye.
They were all on Nuke.
Wow, a Bloody Eye reference.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd do Bloody Eye.
Yeah. Or Skooma.
Skooma.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the first fictional drug I could think of, and it doesn't fit. So let's move on. Patrick, what would be how would you describe this album musically? What would be the themes and elements?
So musically, I got a lot of late '80s, early '90s R&B going on here, which I'm for. I am pro that era of music. There's a lot of very synthy, a lot of synthy beats.
We hate
There's some
synthesizers on the record breakers.
Yes. There's some R&B related sproing going on. And then you got the vocals, which I'm going to say a thing, and I don't mean it as an insult, because we'll talk about what I actually thought of this. If you took Nicki Minaj and you gave her a like coffee cup full of Klonopin and other sedatives, and she had it all. And it just took her from like, she's at a 10 all the time, and then she's at a 1.5. You have something a little bit like what's going on here. It's like,
fuck
What
this
the fuck?
metaphor.
I'm trying to put this together myself.
Patrick, Patrick, I want you to know I'm with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
It's like this super soft, but also like thematically it covers a lot of the same ground, and there's it's not always rapping, but there is definitely some of that mixed in there. Although this is probably way more of like a pop R&B record than that. But like if you could like take it, she runs at a 10 all the time. If you like made that a 1.5 with enough drugs, you'd have something that did not sound entirely unlike this. I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't expect this, I guess. But it's very like there's a lot of throwback in here that I think really sits in the late 80s and early 90s. But
I think the vocals, it kept reminding me of one person, is JYP. And no, I'm not talking about his plastic pants.
I actually got that reference, Petey.
Yes. I'm talking about something that he calls a technique, but that isn't a technique that has been debunked, and I've been linked to the other guys. His half air, half sound technique, which is just you sound breathy. Where you kind of like don't actually connect your vocal cords, you kind of let some air in. Of course, that makes you run out of air and dries out your vocal cords, and it's actually kind of damaging. But it is a stylistic choice, so it's that sound, it's that vocal style.
You don't do it all the time, and you know what you're doing, it'll be okay. But if you don't know what you're doing and you do it all the time, you're probably gonna fuck some shit up.
If you do it all the time, it means you don't know what you're doing. But
you're gonna sound like Tom Waits when you're done.
It means you never learned to know what you're doing. Hear that, JYP? Stop teaching your artists to do that. Anyways,
unless you want to get two good albums and then, like Brett said, a Tom Waits album, then yes, exactly. Sure.
Wait. Are you implying that Tom Waits albums aren't good? Because I will change my next.
This is a different discussion.
No, we're talking about vocal techniques. We're literally talking about vocal techniques, not about musical.
Another story for another podcast.
Tom Waits doesn't sing pretty. If you say Tom Waits sings pretty, you're dumb.
He sings good songs, but he doesn't sing pretty.
Japan.
You know who else is one?
Not a melodious voice, Tom Waits. Not exactly melodious.
Again, another example. Music is not a sport. Technical singing does not make a good song. But yeah, Drew. How would you describe this album musically?
For some reason I just got Funky Cole Medina in the back of my head. But
cool, me too.
You're welcome, everyone listening. Tone Loc. Think about that one. But back to this album, because holy cow, yes, okay. This is everything that's been in my wheelhouse lately. This sort of exemplifies in some weird ways. The music itself comes out very soothing and very beautiful and very ethereal at times. But yet the beats, like the actual drum bits, were still very solid and hit very well, but it was never so high in the mix that it took away from that sort of cool, chilled out groove that you had with the melodies. It had that like sort of almost jazzy lo-fi sort of feel to it. And usually when you get that, it's no words, and this had words, and that's great. Like Brett said, the singing was not like super pronounced in the mix, but it was still well placed, I think, for the style of singing that was being done. Because you don't want it to lay on top of the mix. You're not doing something that is like crazy vocalist heavy. She's not doing crazy runs up the scale and octave jumps.
Not like holding her hand and doing this.
Right, exactly.
Vocal gymnastics up in the States.
Right. It's just solid. And looking it up, she was not happy with the production that was being done by other folks, so she ended up doing it her damn self, from what I read, and that's pretty dope. And that made me actually look up, like, wait a second, is this some sort of fluke? Like, is this for real? And I looked up 56 Colors as well, because of how much I was enjoying this. And, like, I was like, let's see if her doing this is a fluke, or the stuff that her and her husband does is also great. And it was. This album in and of itself is really well thought out, but yet also hits a lot of different stylistic ideas. And I think that's really cool, especially for like a debut, like full length studio thing, to sort of hit a lot of different sounds and say, like, kind of give an idea of, hey, maybe this is like, maybe I can go here for my next record or go here for my next record. Like, you hit a lot of different things. It gives a lot of people ideas of where your inspirations are coming from, and I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of sounds that are familiar because they that like pop, the experimental pop hip hop sounds, which I think I've heard myself in K-pop. I think in some elements of that they've been using lately. Yeah, I think it works well musically. It's just so chill too. It's so like, I think like this is I think Drew alluded to in a recent tweet. Well, not recent as of y'all hearing this episode, but recent as of us recording. Sorry, we kind of pre-record.
We play live into your podcast machine.
Exactly. We're live into your podcatcher, into RSS feed. We're doing this over and over again for everybody. One individual.
Not Memorex. We're live.
Podcast as service. But yeah, he alluded to the fact that this album seemed handpicked for him because of how he spoke to, and he's talked about his love of those classic chill lo-fi hip hop playlists that are on YouTube. Which
yes, I love those.
Those are fantastic.
Chilled Cow is for the regular.
Yeah, and this fits right in with that aesthetic.
I'm too old to know what you're talking about.
And it works really well. Yeah, it works really well musically. On top of that, but yeah, let's talk about some of the songs. Let's drill down. Deej, what would be some of the key tracks for you? What would be some of the important tracks for you?
For me, the album actually opens pretty strongly with the title track, Miami Garden Club. I feel like that song really sets the tone for the whole album. Also, the song A Sorry Love Song, which I guess it has to do with Mass Effect. But I enjoyed that song. I feel like it's just energetic enough to where it's really cool.
Mass Effect. Sorry, giant bomb nerds.
I was yelling "fuck 'em" at work today. Fuck 'em.
I get none of those references, so I'm just gonna say also the song "Drink Tickets."
Yes.
Also, unfortunately, I will say the song that I think is probably supposed to be the quote-unquote single. Too many times in so many different genres of music, the song that is supposed to be the air quotes single usually ends up being the worst song on the album. And in this case, Mass Text Booty Call, which by premise sounds fantastic. Just on the title alone, Mass Text Booty Call. Shout out to Tay Allen.
Yes.
But the song itself is a radical departure from the rest of the album. Really doesn't kind of fit for me. Really doesn't kind of work. It's kind of sticks out from the rest of the album. I mentioned the songs that I would really say is the title track, A Sorry Love Song. I also want to throw in If You Want to Come Over. I really like that one. And the final song on the album, Drink Tickets.
Exactly. I will say, yeah, Mass Text Booty Call. If it was a single on its own video, on its own, in its own merit, it's a fun song. But in the middle of this album, probably it sticks out like kind of like a sore thumb. It's like this whole vibe, and then you have this kind of like jokey track that doesn't
Mass Effect love song.
Exactly. Brett, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Well, I too want to point out the opening track. And before we get any farther, Petey, is there a Miami Garden Club anywhere near you?
Maybe. Sure. I don't know.
Is there a garden club? Because you should join it. Like, I'd like to see you like make bonsai or something. But the song is a good indication of what you're going to get going into the rest of the album. It is ethereal as all get out, and you start getting familiar with the way that the vocals are going to kind of go. A Sorry Love Song. I guess this was released a year before the album came out, and it is way more produced than a lot of the other songs. It has so much going on. It opens up with the In Your Eyes-esque Peter Gabriel like sort of feel, and then the orchestral hits, the 80s style orchestral hits come in on the samples, and slowly the backing track turns into a late 80s pop album. Like, there's a quack rhythm guitar while there's a screaming guitar solo done with like delays and reverbs on it and stuff. Like, it's some pretty great use of synthesizer. I could see why they would release this as an individual track. Like, somebody knew exactly what they were doing and what they were pulling from and how they wanted this song to go. And while some of it sounds silly when everything is like you're hearing a G.E. Smith solo from Hall & Oates kind of going on, it's well-meaning. They get it honestly. Brush Me Off, coming right after. What a fucking weird song. It starts off and it's fairly pedestrian, and until it's pop lyrics, and then things sort of escalate. The lyrics speak for themselves. I had a lot of time listening through that and being like, were these written by two completely different people on the other sides of the country that really had, like, these could be two separate songs. Like, I would like to hear a song about a weird stalker, done by DBS. But yeah, also there's some chromio keys, like the pitch wheel getting jostled. I love it. Like, I think everybody should have that, the bass guitar and the synth keys with the pitch wheel going. You don't have to have your vocals going through a talk box, but that doesn't hurt. But like, all in all, like, I was shook. I came into this album expecting heavy metal,
Shook.
and I got yeah. So what I got, like, the first listen through, like, there was a wow moment, and those three songs gave me wows.
Hashtag
like,
shook.
Wow.
Swerve,
Wow.
snitches.
Wow.
I swerved you all.
Wow.
There wasn't a
Hashtag
single
swerve.
double bass drum solo going on in this album once.
Nope.
Hashtag swerve. Shout out to Shane Strickland. Patrick, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
I'm gonna go with New Leaf, second song on the album. The vocals are really nice. I found this album as a whole, I feel like there aren't a lot of songs that really super stood out to me, but I enjoyed my time with the record, if that makes sense. But I'll point out a couple that I did, go on through it again and again, really liked. Like I said, New Leaf, it's got really nice vocals over what is sometimes like a really heavy drum and bass beat, but then sometimes nothing. And it's just kind of, I like where it goes. The quote-unquote single, Mass Text Booty Call, it's got a dumb, catchy as fuck hook, and I don't care. It's fun. The music's got a lot of, as I said at the top, R&B sproing, just those weird sounds that came out of 90s R&B, probably because of the tools that were being used to produce it. And then 509 Seabreeze. The music on that track is fucking phenomenal. It's just great. It is so 90s R&B in all the right ways, but with a little bit of modernization. It has a talk singing break, as it's not full One Night in Bangkok,
Oriental
but
City.
it's got some talk singing, and but it's like used well, and it makes sense in the context of the song. But this is one of those albums where no one or two songs really jump out, but kind of as a whole, it's a pleasant experience, if that makes sense.
Drew, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Well, I always harp on two things. If you're going to make a album, one of the song titles, the song better be good, and also you want to open strong. Miami Garden Club does both of those things. The sort of piano-y beginning going into like super reverbiness, like real quick within the first minute is awesome. The beat itself comes in really, really cool. And it just, to sort of, in my opinion, you make your first, it's a debut full-length album. Like, this is the first full-length that she has pieced together after this Kickstarter push. The first song on it, so like, there are going to be people who come to this saying, oh, she made this off Kickstarter, let's see what it is. And you bury the lead for a full minute is a bold move, but it works so well. It's just amazing. Mass Text Booty Call, yes, a little removed from the rest of the album, like Deej said, but also, like Patrick said, it worked for me personally because I thought of it as, okay, it's the single, and if you put this shit on at a club, no one's going to be mad at you. And in 509 Seabreeze, I had to mention, because this is literally everything I'm about right now, the thick bass that was at play here was just awesome. And this was the point at which I made that tweet that was like, sometimes you just think somebody brought something and was like, hey, this is Drew. We're going to block out time for Drew right here. And I've like, that was the moment I was like, oh, this is fucking everything right now for me. And
it was like,
super
thank you,
down.
Scientist, all over again, Drew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Figured you out. Figured you out, Drew.
I'm not a complicated man when it comes to most of this.
If your next pick could just have a horn section, he'd be set.
Yes. We'll work on it. Also, another fantastic track. I want to give some love to Overpass and Sugar Water. I think those are a couple of really cool songs. I think those are probably, I don't think anybody touched on them, but I think they were really cool musically, and they just kind of like had just a cool vibe to them. But yeah, let's bring it back around the horn for some conclusive thoughts. Speaking of horn section, Brett, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
Well, I have it on good authority. If even you don't know what the genre this is, if you have no clue what this album is, good. Listen to it. Like, it may, especially if you think it's a metal album, I'm going to start telling people, hey, you should listen to this Kitty album and like throw this at them and see what happens. I enjoyed my time.
Some
with
people
it.
may not take that very well.
Hey, you know what? Fuck them.
Fuck those people.
That's
Fuck
right.
Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Fuck them. You know what
'Cause this
Reggie
is
said? Reggie said, fuck them.
That's right. I want to have Reggie Fils-Aimé listen to this album, and while he's living in his Nintendo world, fuck him. This is. I had a good time with this. I didn't expect it. I didn't even know that this existed. I still don't know if it actually exists. It's kind of a weird. It was a weird week of listening to this. But like, I may pull this out. I may blow the dust off of the record, put my scratchy needle on it, and listen to this when I need to be like, remember that time that my world was rocked, thinking that I was going to have to. I was expecting.
Would you listen to this album, as Patrick said, on Klonopin? Would this work with Klonopin?
I don't do drugs, but
Anymore.
often. But no, But no, this is an album that is worth listening
Stay
to.
off the weed.
Yes. It's pretty okay. It's something that, like I was saying, I thought I was going to come in and it was going to be a chore. It wasn't. It wasn't at all. It was a great time. sorry, Kitty, if you're listening, the other Kitty, the group of ladies that are still around. I'm sorry for shitting all over you, but I enjoyed this much better.
Yeah. Morgan seems to be doing well. She's I see her on Instagram. She's doing well.
Shouldn't speak ill of the dead, Brett.
They're gonna whip me with their studded belts and.
Yes.
Some people, I'm sure, would pay good money for that.
Yeah,
I mean, they're in Canada, so.
Patrick, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
And would you listen to this album on Klonopin?
I can't put my finger on what I enjoy about this album. It feels nice to listen to, if that makes sense. It's an enjoyable experience. Like, this is really not my genre. This is really not my normal style, but like, I really like the very laid back vocals. I like that they're kind of chill and different and not like super aggressive like a lot of hip hop and pop music is. It's very like, I'm just singing some songs about some stuff. I like the music because it very much throws back to my childhood. 90s R&B is a place I'm always more comfortable than I probably should be for a white kid from the middle of nowhere. But
everyone likes 90s R&B.
It's so good.
90s R&B
so
is universal.
I know, it's wonderful. Universal. But it's like, this has a little bit of that, a little bit of new stuff. This is one of those where I will probably catch myself listening to this again, and I don't do that a lot on this podcast, for better or worse. Like, we experience things, and then we got to move on to the next one. But this is one I might come back to once in a while when I just need something kind of chilled out. And I don't know, I was listening to this at work all day, and it was kind of enjoyable. And that's like, I can't tell you what I like about it. I can't even tell you what my favorite song on the record is. I just like it.
Yeah. Drew, what would be your conclusion on this album?
My conclusion is I'm going to be listening to a fucking shit ton more of this. It is fucking great. It is something that I think everybody should listen to. It is something that, while I was worried before I started
your mic cut off.
Testicle difficulties. Hey, you need to get. I thought I gave
Drew's
you an
mic is
XLR
on
cable.
Klonopin.
Come on, keep it in. Leave it in. This is quality. Do an interpretive dance of your review.
Don't leave it in. Don't ever. When they say leave it in, don't do that. It's bad news.
Don't
Bad
listen
news
to
bears.
Deej. Lick it.
You never want to leave it in.
Thank you, Focusrite.
Reacting. I don't hear anything. It was like a weird. It was an analog thing. It was an analog thing, and then it stopped sounding.
Oh wow, it's
Drew broke everything.
This
thing exploded.
This shit is real.
Drew, fix your shit, and I will.
Is this like
Edie.
I saw robot strippers today? So maybe
Edie, you know
this
what
is
to
the
do.
robot uprising happening in front of us.
It's a situation. You know how to handle it. That's not how to handle it.
Deej, clearly you have never listened to our
the
Horse
Holy
Apples podcast.
Wait a second.
But you're back.
There
back.
we go.
Guess who's back? Back
Okay.
Again.
You want to hear what happened? I'll tell you what happened.
What happened again?
No, it's
Nope,
dead
now
again.
you're gone again. Gone forever.
Petey, you know what to do.
We'll never
Wait,
know.
I forgot. I just edited it out in post.
No, you won't. Let's be honest.
Have him record a ADR.
Hello.
There you're back.
Okay, so Skype keeps trying to switch away from my Focusrite onto my headphone amp, which is not my Focusrite and has no mics plugged into it because it's a headphone amp.
Yeah.
Thanks, Microsoft. You bought Skype and you totally made it better and totally didn't ruin it.
That's why I pointed my camera. to
Oh,
the Focusrite,
shut up.
because it
Skype was
like,
never good.
It was
I've
like,
been complaining
hey,
about it for years.
it's not the XLR cable because the green light is blinking.
Yeah.
Like, my voice is reacting in the amp. I was like, what is going on? And when I like hung up and
these
like,
problems.
I hung up
Don't know what is
and
wrong
I
with it.
came back into Skype, it was like, oh, hey, we see that you have your microphone input as the Focusrite, and you have your headphone output as the full of shit. Do you want to switch them both to the shit? And I'm like, no, I don't, Skype. I don't. I know my audio setup's dumb, Skype. Don't tell me this. I know.
All right.
I never have these problems.
That's a good conclusion.
Yeah, I don't know.
Conclusive
No.
thoughts.
Like, I know that my setup is not everybody's setup, and my setup is fucking weird. But, like,
True, I
had
have
it set up
basically the
fine.
same setup, and I don't have any of the problems you do.
Yeah, I don't know. It's some weird
Fucking whatever.
gremlins. But yeah, moving on. Back on, and a 3
So
and
my
2
thoughts.
and a 1.
No, it's something that I think everybody should hear this record because I think it's really, really fucking good. It's something that is going to make my like regular morning playlist of like, look, I can't deal with something that's fast and hard right now because I'm half awake and not wanting to go into work. So like,
Who
what's
doesn't
the
like
cool?
it fast and hard in the morning?
No, I like it gentle and soft.
There's nothing wrong with that.
A little bit of Barry White playing in the background. But it's something that like is everything that I've been getting into lately, sort of wrapped into one, and I'm super okay with that.
Yeah, it is a fantastically cool, chill album. Fun to like drive to, like you said, like in the morning or honestly at any time, right? Like late at night, with your headlights on, driving through the streets of Miami, on the way to Miami Garden Club. I guess I don't know.
You need to report back on that, Petey.
There's
You need to find
probably
Miami
a club in Wynwood called the Miami Garden Club.
It's probably
Or
a gentleman's club.
No, it's probably like a chic, like hipster, like hangout in the middle of Wynwood. Because like you got to complete the gentrification of a formerly prominent black neighborhood. 'Cause that's what you do. But yeah, it is a fantastic album for just chilling out and grooving to it, and like it has a lot going for it. And the sounds, the sounds are new and interesting, but familiar because I think if you take these like beats and a lot of these elements, and you add more prominent vocals and more prominent poppy front-facing vocals, and you get quite a few, probably a few K-pop songs that I've listened to a few times with some of these instrumentals. You can probably draw a lot of parallels between this and DNA, which is the big BTS song that brought them into like their current world domination status. But yeah, I think like a lot of these elements are things that I've already enjoyed, and I think in a form that is unique and enough and cool on its own. But yeah, Deej, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I liked it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good enough conclusion. But yeah, those are our thoughts on Kitty, Miami Garden Club. Now we get to our haiku reviews.
And I was afraid for a second. You guys were talking about conclusions. I thought you were done with the haikus. I thought like I wasn't gonna get to do my haiku.
That is our
That's the
goddamn
main-
gimmick, and we stick to it.
Yes.
Yeah, cultural
We
appropriation.
We stick to our
in the worst
gimmick
way.
like Terry Funk sticks to coming back to wrestling.
Yes.
I got to leave the show. We're rest talking.
I was going to say Ric Flair
too.
and woos, but okay.
Yes.
Or
Let's talk
crippling
about
alcoholism.
or cocaine.
It's a way to live.
This is Miami.
Not yayo though.
Got to live that gimmick.
I wish I
Sorry,
could say I didn't. I wish I could say I didn't know where. I wish I could say I didn't know where to get cocaine, but I can't.
Well, I mean, you're in
Sorry,
fucking
Pete.
Miami. Like
I know.
it's like
sorry.
me
It's like
trying to
I-
find a corn. Like
I
can
feel like
find
in
corn.
Miami, if you just go out on a street
Again-
corner
again,
and rub your
Petey,
nose,
Petey,
someone
corner?
will offer you coke.
Petey, I understand.
Yes.
I understand.
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna move to Detroit. It's like it's
There's
good-
no cocaine in Detroit.
Yeah.
None.
People. I don't know.
We're too poor for cocaine in Ohio. We're all high on heroin.
Okay, weed's legal here, so it's fine.
Yay. But yes, let's talk about some. Let's do some haikus. The
Okay.
same initiative order. Brett, what is your haiku?
Take two. A sound new to me. Another gift from the Deej, not the metal band.
Yes. Patrick, what is your haiku?
Much to my surprise, I found this enjoyable. No idea why.
Drew, what is your haiku?
Beautiful music. Every moment is pretty. It's my aesthetic.
Hashtag aesthetic. All right, my haiku. Chill aesthetic sounds with a fun, engaging vibe. Mass text booty call. No, I'm just kidding. Damned good driving tunes. Deej, finally. Your haiku.
Vapor wavy pop. I might be too old for this. Dug it anyway.
Mhm. Never too old.
Kitty on my foot, and I want to touch it.
I don't know what that means.
Kitty on my
Then
foot.
you're not,
But not
too old
from
for
on-
this album. It's a song from those what brought us the Peaches song.
Yes. Kitty on my foot. I want to touch it. But yeah, those are our thoughts on Kitty's Miami Garden Club. And you can, of course, find it on our Spotify playlist. Play Record Breakers at home. Follow along, do your homework. On that playlist will be next week's record. And then, of course, that is my record at the beginning of the cycle again. I'm going to do the album that I pushed back. I kind of bumped in favor of the kind of more emotional pick of Junghyun last time. This time I'm going to go ahead and just pick Love Exterio's 37B. Just revisit Love Exterio again, see what they've done with this other part of their big project. Because this is definitely going to be really cool to talk about. So yeah, check that out. Follow along at home. But of course, let's get to the plugs. DJM. How you doing?
I have stuff.
What do you got going on the internet?
Stuff.
Any things?
No thanks. Just stuff.
Yes. Got things.
There's some
and
like
stuff.
a
Without it,
podcast
you got nothing.
of some
Yes.
sort that might be about anime you do, or
Yeah. It's there.
Just
You can follow him at Just Call Me DJM.
You can do that, man.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes. But go check out all of his stuff there. It'll update you on that. But you can, of course, find us all
tweet
over
too
the internet.
much.
Yeah, we all do. Oh, not me. I don't really tweet all that much. But yeah, you can find us all over the internet. Patrick is at Swagger. Brett is at HibbityBibbert, HIBBI2IBIBBRD. Drew is at XJuciferX. I'm at PD Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com is the email. Rebelly.net for this and other shows. Rebelly TV on YouTube and other places. Probably more places in the near future. Yeah. Do all the things. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time. Hasta los huevos.
In the name of hashtag like, share, subscribe. Amen.
I got a phone in my pocket and where's my wallet?